Right here, we have the Anu, the ultimate Anu. It will be seen that the Anu is a sphere, slightly flattened, and there is a depression at the point where the force flows in, causing a heart-like form. Each is surrounded by a field. The Anu can scarcely be said to be a thing, though it is the material out of which all things physical are composed. It is formed by the flow of the life force and vanishes with its ebb. The life force is known to theosophists as Fohat, the force of which all the physical plane forces are differentiations. When this force arises in space, that is, when Fohat digs holes in space, the apparent void, which must be filled with substance of some kind of inconceivable tenuity, Anu appear. If this be artificially topped for a single Anu, the Anu disappears. There is nothing left. Presumably, were that flow checked but for an instant, the whole physical world would vanish as a cloud melts away in the Empyrean. It is only the persistence of that flow, the first life wave, the work of the third logos, which maintains the physical basis of the universe. In order to examine the construction of Sorry about that, but this goes on to talk about what the Anu is and how to recreate it. The Anu is a sun in miniature. It is its own universe of inconceivably minute. Each of the 7 worlds is connected with one of the planetary logos, so that each planetary logos has a different influence playing on the very matter of which all things are constructed. It may be supposed that the 3 conveying electricity, a differentiation of Fohat, are related to the solar logos. That is the radiation background, the scalar field. And when it says that inconceivable tenuity, that's the tensor of the scalar tensor marriage, which causes matter to be manifest from energy, static electricity, and magnetism, which is electricity. So the ebb and the flow of the Anu is where I wanted to start this. And which they used their Sanskrit name Anu. They stated that if the origin of these ultimate atoms is traced further back, then one enters the spiritual or astral world. The ultimate atoms have currents of force entering and leaving them, and the difference between the 2 ultimate atom types is that in one type of Anu, the force comes from the spiritual world into the etheric atom, whereas the other type of Anu, the force flows from the etheric atom into the spiritual world. This is, to me, this explains, in the 2 types of ultimate Anu. I wish I could make this bigger, guys. I'm sorry, but ultimate atoms, or Anu, observed by Besant and Ledbetter, both types compare spiritual or spiral of activity that form a heart shape with a depression at the top in the position in the positive. Anu, the flow of spiral clockwise downward from the top and back up again, while the negative Anu is counterclockwise. So that'd be just like the north and the south pole of the Earth, and man is a part of the Earth, bound to the Earth via makeup, clay, the mineral state, the 3rd dimension, 3rd rock from the sun. Now, it's no coincidence that the 7 chakras, the 7 worlds, the 7 layers of our heart are all connected to the center of all things, the Anu. The Anu is also the Sky Father. is the divine personification of the sky, supreme god and ancestor of all deities in ancient Mesopotamian religion. Three bands of constellations in the vault of the sky. The triad, personifying the three bands of constellations in the vault of the sky. By the time of the earliest written records, Anu was rarely worshipped, instead devoted to Enlil. But throughout Mesopotamia history, the highest deity in the pantheon was always to possess the Anutu, meaning heavenly power. Anu's primary role in myths is as the ancestor of the Anunnaki, the major deities of Sumerian religion. Now, that Anunnaki, see, Anu, Sky Father, King of Gods, Lord of the Constellations. The Dinger, stars and deities, are his army. Right here tells us what the Anunnaki is, and I've been spreading this information everywhere. The god of the heavens is Anu, okay? Anunnaki are the descendants, are the most powerful deities in the pantheon, descendants of An and Ki. So that is the descendants of earth and heaven. So, what does that tell you? That tells you that Anu means Sky Father, Na means An, and Ki means earth, obviously. The god of the heavens and the goddess of earth, and their primary function is to decree the fates of humanity. Now, the Anunnaki are portrayed as 7 judges who sit before the throne of Ereshkigal in the underworld. Later Akkadian texts, such as the Epic of Gilgamesh, follow the portrayal. During the Old Babylonian period, the Anunnaki were believed to be the chthonic deities of the underworld, while the gods of the heavens were known as the Igigi. The ancient Hittites identified the Anunnaki as the oldest generation of gods who had been overthrown and banished to the underworld by the younger gods. The Anunnaki have featured prominently in works of modern pseudo-history. Now, Zecharia Sitchin, totally discredited, in my opinion. I used to adhere to his principle, or his transliterations, his translation of said texts, like from heaven to earth they came, which is bull crap. And then David Icke is just stuck on the reptilian factor of everything. Everything's a shapeshifting reptilian. I'm not saying that there wasn't, but I'm saying that this whole situation is due to the misunderstood mythology of these beings, which are us. We are the Anunnaki. No complete list of names of all the Anunnaki has survived, and they are usually only referred to as cohesive group in literary texts, meaning that we all can become divine Anunnaki. Heavenly deities with immense powers. In a poem, Enki of the World Order, the Anunnaki do homage to Enki, sing hymns and praise in his honor. In Inanna's descent into the underworld, there are only 7 Anunnaki. Just like there's 7 layers of the heart, just like there's 7 days of the week, just like there's 7 chakras, on and on and on and on and on. Now this points to one thing and one thing only. Reverence begets favor, sacrifice prolongs life, and prayer atones for guilt. He who fears the gods is not slighted by. He who fears the Anunnaki extends his days. Babylonian representation of the national god Marduk, who the Babylonians and Assyrians envisioned as the prominent member of the Anunnaki. Now, this is probably where the misunderstanding or the misinfo started. You know? So, I implore you all to look into this, because we are all fallen angels, folks. We are fallen from the grace of the knowing of who we really truly are. We are fallen angels. You, me, he, she, we, all. Until we become one with the ineffable. Till we become one with our true self, which is the truth. In the beginning there was truth. The Word was truth. Truth was the Word. Pyramid means fire in the middle. Earth, pyramid. Man, pyramid. The spark of divinity shown in the creation of Adam painting on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican. Creation of Adam, that spark gap, is the same as the almost touching tips of the triangles in the Louvre Museum in London. We are all on a hero's journey, threefold in nature. We are all destined to become stars. We can rise above our Creator, the light, which is indifferent to anything and everybody. It's an automatic recycler. The only way we can rise above that is through the understanding of the wisdom, in which will give us reason for our existence. Hope you like this. Hope it's shed some light on some things for you. Spread this. Share this. I could care less if you subscribe. I could care less about any money. I just want this knowledge to proliferate, to propagate, or not proliferate, but to propagate, to extend beyond my mouth, my lips, into your mind, into the next, so we can truly know who we are, and truly get back to our true divinity, which is the spark of creation, guys. Much love, peace, and chicken grease.